Oh, that's right, I am recording. Sorry, I've just been tapping and tapping and tapping all week long here. I've officially gone insane. There's a mobile game that was just released named Curiosity, and it's all at once the most monotonous, infuriating, and one of the most exciting games I've ever played. Here is how the game opened the first time I began playing. There's a giant cube made up of billions of smaller cubes. Your job is to break them, as is everyone else in the world playing the game. As soon as one layer is gone, you can start tapping again to remove the second layer. Eventually there will be one cube in the center, and one person will be able to claim the prize that's in the center of that cube. What the prize is, nobody knows, so obviously I need to find out what it is. It could be gold, it could be hot babes, it could be liquor. Wow, I really hope it's liquor. I know that whatever is at the center is never going to be as good as what I think is going to be at the center, but I still find myself swept up in this sense of nostalgia, and I just keep tapping, tapping, tapping. I went to see WreckIt Ralph in between taps. This is a Disney animated film. However, being produced by John Lasseter of Pixar fame really helped it out. Anyone who has been a child in the last 40 years has in some ways been raised by what Walt Disney created. But for those of us who came of age in the 1990s and through that great renaissance of Disney animation, it's been kind of a rough go for the last few years. I would argue that Disney's last great animated feature was more than 10 years ago. Or it could be longer. And although this is not a 2D animated film that I wish Disney would get back to making, it does follow that traditional Disney formula. A social outcast strikes off into the world, thinks he's going to change it, fails, finds another social outcast who is also trying to change the world but in a different way. They join forces and reach both of their goals, just not in how they thought initially. There's also a villain and blah 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 blah. It's able to take my love of traditional or retro video gaming, marry it with my love of animation, and make a great film out of it. Definitely something that I can rewatch over and over and over again. But it too makes me nostalgic. I remember the 10th grade and I needed to get a Christmas present for my sister. Now I knew what I wanted to get for her, but what I wanted to get for her was also something that I wanted too. And I knew that if it was just hers, I would never be able to use it. So what I did is on the present, on a little card, I wrote to Lindsay, and the end was in all capitals, Kyle, from Kyle. It was with that and plus my sister's chagrin, that we as a family got an N64. Video games were a big part of my life at that point, as was an adventurer named Link. Ocarina of Time had just been released and I became addicted and played with a fervor that most would reserve for like a military coup. Or at least a One Direction concert. Hi Harry. I would love to go back to a time where my only worry in life was to save my girl from the clutches of that evil tyrant in the land of Hyrule. There's work and life, and mostly work. I haven't actually sat down and played a console game that wasn't either Rock Band or Smash Brothers at a friend's place in probably over 5 years. Have you tried tapping? Yes, I've tried tapping. It's like bubble wrap. It's very zen-like. The music is great. There's no hookshot though. It's not the water temple. Very true, there's always a reward in video games, whether it's just points, rescuing the princess, beating an opponent into submission. Here there could be no reward, and people are still playing, in the hundreds of thousands with no guarantee that you'll ever discover what the center holds. The winner has no obligation to share, and I'm left to conclude, I should go back to tapping. Let nostalgia be nostalgia. That stuff was great at the time, but there's important stuff to do today. Even if it's fruitless. And hookshotless. That too. Though it too makes me nostalgic. That word. Rescuing the princess, points, beating an opponent into submission, I think is my line. It is.